In case you guys are wondering about some of those promises that Donald Trump had as far as, ending all those wars, like the other 10 to 15 to 25 that he's said he's ended. See what he has to say about what's going on with Russia and sanctions.
Do you expect NATO to issue sanctions against Russia as you asked them to do over the weekend?
Well, they're not doing the job. NATO has to get together. Europe has to get together and do it. Look, they're my friends, but they're buying oil from Russia. So we can't be expected to be the only ones that are, full bore. But Europe is buying oil from Russia. I don't want them to buy oil. And the sanctions that they're putting on are not tough enough. And I'm willing to do sanctions, but they're going to have to toughen up their sanctions commensurate with what I'm doing.
Just to clarify, you wouldn't move ahead until NATO moves ahead.
Well, I'm ready to move ahead, but they have to do it. I think they will. But right now they're talking and they're not doing it. Look, they're buying oil from Russia. We're not buying oil from Russia. They're buying a lot of oil from Russia. That's not the deal.
Donald Trump's ball keeps moving on this whole discussion about whether or not he's going to end this war in 24 hours between Ukraine and Russia. When Russia invaded Ukraine, that he still won't admit to happening because, he does everything that Vladimir Putin wants him to do. But now it's about those sanctions. He's been upset multiple times. I can't believe Vladimir Putin would do this. Can you believe this? Vladimir Putin keeps on doing what I tell him not to do. My patience is running out. These have been multiple times. He had a meeting at a summit with him. It was great. It was wonderful. He's my best friend. This is where he now stands. This is in his Truth Social post. A letter sent by President Donald J. Trump to all NATO nations and the world. I'm ready to do major sanctions on Russia when all NATO nations have agreed and started to do the same thing. And when all NATO nations stop buying oil from Russia, that's kind of what he was talking about in that clip. As you know, he says, NATO's commitment to win has been far less than 100%, and the purchase of Russian oil by some has been shocking. It greatly weakens your negotiating position and bargaining power over Russia. I thought he was being the negotiator and bargaining with Russia. Now it's them. Continuing. Anyway, I'm ready to go when you are. Just say when. I believe that this, plus NATO as a group, placing 50% to 100% tariffs on China to be fully withdrawn after the war with Russia and Ukraine is ended, will also be of great help in ending this deadly but ridiculous war. China has a strong control and even grip over Russia, and these powerful tariffs will break that grip. This is not Trump's war. It would never have started if I was president. It's Biden and Zelensky's war. I'm only here to stop it and save thousands of Russian and Ukrainian lives. 7,118 lives lost last week alone. Crazy. If NATO does as I say, the war will end quickly and all those lives will be saved. If not, you are just wasting my time and the time, energy, and money of the United States. Are you kidding me? So this guy who says he's leading the charge and the peacemaker across the world, he's saying now until you guys do what I say, all of Europe and NATO placing 50 to 100% tariffs on China, which is screwing this country over. Until you guys do that and stop buying Russian oil of the 2 or 3 countries that still do, then finally I'll start doing something. Bro, it's September. I heard 24 hours starts around in January after you were inaugurated. It's almost like the writing was on the wall. He's been talking soft and being cowardly about this for a while. Here's some of the things he said before.
What's your reaction to Russian drone incursion into Poland?
Could have been a mistake. But
President Putin, because we just saw these drones in Poland.
yeah, well,
More
Poland
sanctions?
thing, I'm not going to defend anybody, but the Poland's, they were actually knocked down and they fell into an area. But he shouldn't be close to Poland anyway.
Maybe it was a mistake. Who cares about those drones flying over Polish airspace? Who cares? It's not like the folks who were there. It's not like the leaders of these countries said, yo, this is the highest escalation of any kind of conflict since world wars. It's weird that he doesn't give a damn.
Sir, China's having a massive military parade that President Putin and Kim Jong-un will be attending. Do you interpret that as a challenge to this? And are you concerned at all about those countries trying to be some sort of counterweight?
Not at all. China needs us, and I have a very good relationship with President Xi, as you know, but China needs us much more than we need them. No, I don't see that at all, no.
One more.
And I had actually a very good meeting with President Putin a couple of weeks ago. We'll see if anything comes out of it. If it doesn't, we'll take a different stance.
That was a couple weeks ago. That new stance is now blaming NATO countries and saying, until you guys do a tariff policy that I've been doing to screw over the United States of American citizens, until you do that, I'm not going to do anything. Remember, they also said at one point, he said it, Marco Rubio said it, this was earlier, and this is months ago. They said, man, if these two can't get together, Zelensky and Putin, get together and finally talk these things through and take part in this ceasefire that Vladimir Putin continued to violate, until that happens, we may just brush our hands of the situation and walk away. There's been so many different iterations of their finality and their conclusions to this whole thing. There's been so many of them because he doesn't know what he's doing until Vladimir Putin tells him what he's doing.
I think it's high time that President Trump should see that Putin is mocking him. Instead of a ceasefire that was supposed to happen before the Alaska summit and serious peace talks, Putin is sending more and more drills, first at Ukraine and now at NATO. So I hope that at the end of this process, we have a series of coordinated moves to make President Putin realize that this exotic project of rebuilding the Russian Empire will not stand.
That's the Polish foreign minister talking about Trump being snatched around because he's Putin's puppet. I mean, Pete, that was said well before, because this is now escalating. You guys want to know how badly this is escalating? Poland and about 40 of its allies on Friday denounced the intrusion of Russian drones into its airspace last week, calling on Moscow to avoid more provocations. Before an emergency meeting of the UN Security Council request by Poland, Deputy Foreign Minister Marcin Bosacki told reporters that Warsaw and its allies wanted to draw the attention of the international community to yet another flagrant violation of international law and the Charter of the United Nations committed by the Russian Federation, which had brought the entire region closer to conflict than any time in recent years. I just want to point out, every time he's talked about how he's ending wars, his approach to these things escalates them. So as he keeps telling folks that are actually the victims of many of these that it's their fault, as he refuses to do anything outside of saying, Vladimir, I thought we were friends, things actually get worse. Let me tell you how much worse those things are getting. France, Germany, and Denmark will contribute fighter jets and other military assets to an enhanced defense of Poland against future Russian drone incursions. NATO leaders announced that at a press conference on Friday. The UK is also expected to contribute to the Eastern Sentry mission, which will gradually be expanded from the Arctic in the north to the Black Sea and Mediterranean in the south to better tackle Russian drones and missiles. Let me give you guys the most stark clip description here of what is it's happening. The latest blow to faltering diplomacy came as Russia's army staged major military drills with its key ally Belarus. The military drills start on Friday and include exercises close to the border with Poland and Lithuania and in the Baltic and Barents Seas. Russia's defense ministry posted a video showing heavy military equipment, including armored vehicles, helicopters, and Navy ships taking part in the drills. Here's the craziest part. Poland said it would now station 40,000 troops near the Belarus border for the duration of those drills. I'm just saying, when you've got armies lining up on borders and military exercises being taking place for folks to observe and watch and monitor, while at the same time, multiple other countries that aren't on that border are facilitating and contributing airplanes and supplies and things that, you fight wars in, just in case something pops off. I feel like if we have any kind of education towards our history, we'd realize that those types of heightened tensions can lead to a war if one bad thing happens. So don't listen to these Republicans who've gotten themselves in this position that are now trying to finally figure it out.
Russia's playing, really playing us like a piano right now. He's gotten everything he wants. He's gotten access to the president with a red carpet reception.
I think it is time to move on Russia's sanctions. President Trump wants to make sure that he is giving every opportunity for peace to get this war resolved, but Putin is playing him right now, and I think the president understands that.
He's been weak on Russia. I think he's been great on Iran, but he has been terrible on Russia. He is unable to call Putin out as the invader and have a more moral clarity about who's at fault in this war.
Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird that that was being said before this guy even got into office? But for some reason, they were all about his ass. Now suddenly he's being played right now. Even, what's her name? Joni Ernst. I think he understands that now. What the makes you think he understands that now if he's still being played? Why do they continue to kiss his ass? They have to, there's a little bit there. Like, oh man, he's gotten access to the president. I think it was Tom Tillis. He's gotten access to the president. Who gave him access to the president? Somebody else? The very little small bits of criticism come with this lack of connection to who it is that's making those criticisms happen. I want to show you guys who the guy is that they keep on saying just doesn't know what he's doing. I mean, he's doing it, but someone's doing it to him. I'm sorry, he's getting bad advice. This is what he cares about.
I thought you'd all like to see it. That's a man named Vladimir Putin, who I believe will be coming, depending on what happens. He may be coming and he may not, depending on what happens. We have a lot of things happening over the next couple of weeks. But I thought it was a nice picture of him. Okay of me, but nice of him. So that was very nice that it was sent to me. Okay?
Mr. President, on
yes.
that subject, have you talked to Vladimir Putin about the fact that yesterday a big U.S. factory was hit in a Russian airstrike in Ukraine? What's your reaction to that?
I told him I'm not happy about it. And I'm not happy about anything having to do with that war. I settled 7 wars, and actually, if you think about pre-wars, add 3 more, so it would be 10. I thought this would be in the middle of the pack in terms of difficulty. No, I'm not happy about anything about that war. Nothing. Not happy at all. We'll see what happens.